Welcome to science class. Today is Wednesday, May 13th, 2020. It is our last day of class. Just a few little end of the year things. The length of day today is 14 hours and 19 minutes. Tonight, the moon is called a waning gibbous. We can see 72.2% of it. I decided to do this worksheet with all classes today. I just found it a little interesting. The older students may know everything about it. However, I thought it was interesting. It is a simple lesson. Older students do not have a copy of it, so your lesson will be to listen to it. Understand patterns. There is a sun movement in there, tracking your shadow. I would encourage you to do that, just for the fun of it. It'll show you how your shadows change with the sun's movement. The moonrise is at midnight. Moonset is at 9:28 in the morning. Okay, so today's lesson is patterns in the sky. I would like to remind you that a pattern is something that repeats. It happens the same way more than once. Patterns can be made of numbers, shapes, or even events that happen in nature. By knowing patterns, we can predict what will happen next. So to better understand how patterns in the sky work, let's break it down. I'm just going to read blurbs out of each little section. The sun, the moon, and the stars all follow the same pattern. They rise in one part of the sky, move across it, and set on the other side. This pattern repeats one time each day. The sun is always shining. The sun is always shining, even at night when we cannot see it. The sun follows the same pattern as the moon. It appears to rise in the east and sets in the west. The moon is always there. The moon can be seen at night and sometimes during the day. The moon follows the same pattern as the sun. It appears to rise in the east and set in the west. The stars shine brightly. They are always shining, but most of them can only be seen at night. Stars appear to follow the same pattern as the sun and the moon, moving across the sky slowly. Telescopes magnify things that are far away. A telescope can be used to magnify things. They help us to observe stars, which look very small to us on Earth because they are so far away. So patterns, the lesson vocabulary for today is pattern. Pattern is something that happens the same way more than once. It repeats. The sun is the bright object that lights up our daytime sky. The moon is a large round object in the sky night that is sometimes visible during the day. Stars. Most stars look like tiny dots of light in the night sky. They look that way because they are very far away. If you were close to them, it would look like a giant ball of burning gas. Position. The place where something is at. Predict. To guess that something might happen in the future. So let's talk about the questions. What patterns do you notice about day and night? It is daytime when the sun is up. When the sun sets, it is nighttime. This pattern repeats every day. How does observing a pattern help us? Observing a pattern helps us predict what may happen next. What is different about the sun from day to night? The sun is only visible during the day. The sun is still shining at night, even though we can't see it from where we are. What happens to your shadow when the sun moves across the sky? As the sun moves across the sky, your shadow will move too. Your shadow can change in length, shape, and position. What is one thing a telescope is used for? A telescope can be used to magnify things that are far away, such as stars and planets. What do you notice about the size of objects in the sky? Things that are closer to Earth look big, like the moon. Stars look very small because they are very far away. So for the littles and the middles, there is a worksheet here. You just need to fill in the blanks. For the top section, you are going to use these words here. For the next section, you will use here. And then these words go to this bottom section. So let's look at the question. Use the word box to label the pictures. Okay, so I labeled moon, stars, sun, and pattern. Patterns are very important. As we heard, they help us predict what will happen next. A lot of things are decided upon by a best guess, and that is what we know. And often patterns show us what may happen next because of what we have seen in the past repeat itself. Okay, so here you are to draw the next pattern that comes in order. You've got square, circle, square, circle, square. Okay, sometimes if we say those in our head, we hear that pattern. Okay, down here, some of these pictures were a little difficult. I had to kind of move around. So this one here is a morning, night, evening, and noon. How do we know? This one looks like the sun is shining from straight on top. If you see here, the sun is setting. If you see here, the sun is rising. And here it is dark. We know it is night. Okay, so what courses shadows? What causes shadows to move throughout the day? That's a bottom question. The answer to that would be the movement of the sun. Okay, we have another worksheet here. It's very similar to the last one. What you are going to do is you are going to write the season that it shows in the picture. This one here told me it were the seasons. All 4 seasons are on there. Here we see patterns. Look at the trees. What do they tell us? What is on the ground? Look here. So you need to label those words with the words on top. Okay, the next section is answer the correct question. So the season with the most amount of daylight is spring, fall, winter, or summer. As we've been tracking the days, we are seeing that our days are now longer than they have been. Summer is when the days are the longest. It is light until 9 o'clock sometimes. So the season with the least amount of daylight, winter, gets dark early. We get out of school, we get home, and it's dark. So that one would be winter. Which season do some animals hibernate? We learned the bear hibernates in winter. They eat all summer long through the other seasons so that they can store enough food to hibernate. during the winter. To hibernate is just to kind of sleep, but bears sleep for a long, long time. Which season will come after spring? We are in spring right now. What season are we coming to? Okay, so number 10 was a true or false question, and I got it wrong. The question, the seasons always happen in the same order. I thought the seasons happened in the same order. I learned that they do not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read you some common misconceptions. Those are things that people believe to be true, but are not really true. Okay, so one common misconception is that winter conditions are the same everywhere. When we look at children's books, we see winter with snow and snowmen, when in reality, the severity of the winter depends where you live. A cold winter in New York, for example, might include snow and below freezing temperatures. By contrast, a cold winter in Florida might require a light sweater. Seasonal changes do occur in almost all locations, but they just aren't as harsh in some places compared to others. So another misconception about seasons is that the Earth is closer to the sun during the summer than in winter. This is not the cause of seasons. In the summer months, there are many more hours of daylight, which give the sunlight more time to heat up the Earth's surface. In contrast, days are shorter in winter, resulting in less time for sunlight to heat up the Earth. The deeper the mechanisms that cause seasons are not discussed at this age. Another misconception is that the seasons happen at the same time everywhere on Earth. This is where I learned that my answer was wrong. In higher grade levels, I guess the older students learn this. However, I don't know that I would mark you wrong. In higher grade levels, students will learn that summer in the southern hemisphere happens at the opposite time of summer in the northern hemisphere. This concept isn't taught to young students. So the rotation and revolution of the Earth are responsible for the seasons. That concludes our lesson for today. I did want to show you my plant. I think it is doing really good. Just barely above the top, but it is looking good and I'm excited about it. Okay, so kiddos, I'm going to miss you. Don't know that I will return next year. I hope to see you next year. Have a great summer. Hope to see you all in the fall. Be safe in all that you do. Remember, this coronavirus is still here. And just because we no longer have the stay in place order, we do have the safe at home. Okay, so be safe in all that you do. Be wise in making your choices. Do the right thing. Only you know what the right thing is. Do what is right for you. Pay attention to nature and all of its beauty. Observe the night sky with your family. Look for the Big and the Little Dipper. Observe the different moon phases and talk about them. Be kind to those around you. And offer help to your family. Support each other. You are all very dear to my heart. I'm very proud of you guys. You are all learning very well. I hope that this carries and stays with you. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. Hope to see you. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful summer. Go Seal Academy students.